Recent studies conducted across Africa in 2024 and 2025 have overturned long-held beliefs in three key areas of scientific understanding. New dating techniques applied to Homo naledi fossils have produced timeline results that contradict established theories about human evolution. Updated casualty statistics from Egypt's Blue Hole revealed death tolls that exceed all previous records, forcing researchers to reconsider the true dangers of this underwater formation. Meanwhile, botanists working in Tanzania's remote forests have documented new tree species that challenge our understanding of plant evolution and biodiversity patterns. These discoveries represent just the beginning of a series of findings that are forcing scientists to question fundamental assumptions about our planet's history. The implications of what researchers have uncovered are reshaping multiple scientific disciplines and revealing how much we still don't know about the world around us. Revolutionary dating technology exposes Homo naledi timeline crisis. The first major breakthrough came from South African laboratories where research teams working with fossils from the Rising Star cave system applied advanced dating techniques to specimens that had puzzled scientists for years. In March 2025, Live Science reported that new radiometric dating published in Eli places Homo naledi in South Africa at about 236,000 to 335,000 years ago, showing they coexisted with early Homo sapiens longer than researchers previously thought. This timeline places Homo naledi as direct contemporaries of early Homo sapiens, who were already establishing themselves across Africa during this exact period. The implications destroy the neat linear progression that scientists have taught for generations about human evolution. Multiple human species were walking the same landscapes and potentially interacting with each other for tens of thousands of years. The traditional model suggested that earlier human species disappeared before modern humans emerged, but the updated Homo naledi timeline proves this assumption wrong. These different groups coexisted across vast stretches of time and geography, creating a far more complex picture of human development than previously understood. Evidence recovered from newly excavated chambers shows that Homo naledi possessed cognitive abilities that challenge everything researchers believed about intelligence development. Stone tools found near skeletal remains and evidence of possible intentional body placements suggest complex behaviors, though these burial practices remain heavily debated among researchers. The organized positioning of remains within specific areas of the cave system forces scientists to question which species actually developed advanced behaviors first. Homo naledi displays a unique combination of primitive and advanced features that continues to baffle researchers. Their small brain size, believed to be one-third the size of modern humans, contrasts sharply with hands and feet that suggest greater ability to manipulate objects and navigate complex terrain. This combination indicates they were capable of sophisticated behaviors despite their smaller cranial capacity. Paleoanthropology departments across universities worldwide are scrambling to revise their curriculum as the fundamental timeline of human development requires complete reconstruction. Textbooks that present human evolution as a straightforward progression from primitive to modern species must be rewritten to account for the parallel development of multiple intelligent human groups. The crisis extends beyond academic institutions as museum exhibits and educational materials present evolutionary trees that no longer reflect scientific reality. The discovery forces researchers to abandon the comfortable narrative of steady human advancement and accept a far more complex picture of overlapping species with competing cognitive abilities. This breakthrough represents more than just updated dates on ancient fossils. The radiometric dating results prove that human evolution involved multiple intelligent species existing simultaneously and developing sophisticated behaviors independently. While scientists continue to uncover evidence that reshapes our understanding of human origins, other discoveries across Africa are revealing equally disturbing patterns about the dangers that continue to claim lives in the modern world. Blue Hole death count reaches critical threshold in 2025. Egypt's Blue Hole diving site along the Red Sea coast has emerged as one of the world's most dangerous underwater locations, with casualty statistics that reveal the true scale of this deadly attraction. Best estimates put Blue Hole fatalities between 130 and 200 divers since the 1960s, making it one of the world's deadliest dive sites according to Wikipedia's documentation of the Red Sea formation. The year 2024 proved particularly devastating as rescue teams recovered multiple bodies from the crystal blue waters that descend over 100 meters into complete darkness. The Egyptian government had previously classified much of this casualty data to protect tourism revenue, but mounting international pressure forced authorities to release more complete records. These statistics reveal a disturbing pattern where experienced divers with advanced certifications make fatal mistakes rather than novice adventurers simply getting in over their heads. The rugged conditions and nitrogen narcosis effects of the dangerous 55-meter arch contribute significantly to these deaths. Advanced underwater camera systems installed throughout 2024 captured several incidents that revealed how rapidly diving situations turn deadly at extreme depths. The footage shows experienced divers suddenly becoming disoriented and making erratic movements that indicate severe nitrogen narcosis. Within minutes, these divers lose their ability to make rational decisions and often swim deeper instead of ascending to safety. The cameras recorded multiple instances where divers removed their breathing equipment or attempted to swim through solid rock walls while under the influence of nitrogen poisoning. Medical analysis of recent victims show that the majority of fatalities involved divers with years of deep water experience, who understood the technical aspects of deep diving but underestimated how psychological effects of nitrogen narcosis would impact their judgment at depths exceeding 80 meters. The gas mixture that keeps divers alive at extreme depths also creates euphoric sensations that can override survival instincts and cause fatal decision-making. Despite enhanced safety protocols, the blue hole continues to draw thrill seekers who view the deadly statistics as a challenge rather than a warning. The site attracts extreme sport enthusiasts who specifically seek out dangerous diving locations to test their skills against nature's most unforgiving environments. Many divers travel to Egypt specifically because of the blue hole's reputation as one of the world's most treacherous underwater formations. International diving organizations responded to the updated death toll by officially classifying the blue hole as a restricted extreme sport location, requiring special permits and enhanced safety protocols. The designation places the site in the same category as other deadly natural formations that attract adventurers willing to risk their lives for the ultimate experience. While researchers continue documenting the dangers that modern adventurers face at sites like the Blue Hole, other teams working across Africa have been uncovering evidence from the distant past that challenges everything scientists believed about early human development. Mysterious human ancestor emerges from Ethiopian highlands. The Ethiopian highlands have long been recognized as one of the most important regions for understanding human evolution, but recent excavations in the Afar region have yielded discoveries that continue to reshape our knowledge of early human development. Teams working in this remote area have uncovered fossil evidence that adds new complexity to the human evolutionary timeline, though the full implications of these findings remain under intense scientific scrutiny. The Afar region's unique geological conditions have preserved ancient remains in sediment layers that span millions of years of human ancestry. These fossil sites have produced some of the most significant discoveries in paleoanthropology, including the famous Lucy skeleton discovered in 1974. The continued excavation of these ancient deposits reveals that early human development involved far more complexity than previously understood. Recent analysis of existing fossil collections from Ethiopian sites has revealed previously overlooked anatomical features that suggest early human ancestors possess capabilities that developed earlier than scientists originally believed. Advanced imaging techniques applied to specimens collected over decades of excavation work have uncovered details about hand structure and tool manipulation, abilities that were not visible using older analysis methods. The research teams working in Ethiopia have documented evidence of sophisticated behaviors among early human populations that lived in the region millions of years ago. Stone tool discoveries throughout the Afar region demonstrate that systematic tool creation and use began much earlier than previous estimates suggested. These implements show clear signs of deliberate modification and use for specific purposes, including cutting and scraping activities. Genetic analysis of preserved material from Ethiopian fossil sites continues to reveal the complex relationships between different early human populations. The evidence suggests that various human ancestor groups interacted and potentially interbred across much longer time periods than scientists previously recognized. This genetic mixing created a far more complex family tree than the simple branching patterns traditionally taught in evolutionary biology. The ongoing research in Ethiopia demonstrates that human cognitive development and intelligence evolution follow patterns that challenge established scientific understanding. The evidence from multiple fossil sites across the region indicates that sophisticated behaviors and problem-solving capabilities emerged independently among different human ancestor populations over extended periods of time. These discoveries from Ethiopia's ancient fossil sites represent just one example of how Africa continues to produce evidence that forces scientists to reconsider fundamental assumptions about our planet's history. While paleontologists work to understand the complexities of human evolution, other researchers across the continent are documenting dramatic changes happening in real time that reveal the dynamic nature of Africa's geological landscape. Africa's continental split accelerates beyond all predictions. Geological monitoring stations positioned throughout the East African Rift Valley have recorded tectonic activity that provides scientists with unprecedented insights into one of Earth's most dramatic geological processes. The sophisticated seismic equipment installed across Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania captures data that reveals how the African continent is slowly splitting apart along this massive fault system. The East African Rift is spreading at about 0.6 to 1 centimeter per year, driven by the Somali and Nubian plates moving apart in opposite directions. Advanced GPS monitoring systems track these minute movements with remarkable precision, allowing researchers to measure continental drift occurring in real time rather than inferring changes from ancient geological evidence. The measurements show that parts of East Africa are gradually separating from the main continent at rates that represent some of the fastest continental drift processes currently active on our planet. This ongoing separation could eventually form a new sea that divides the African continent into two separate landmasses. Satellite imagery captured throughout recent years shows the Rift Valley's distinctive geological features extending across vast stretches of eastern Africa. The system includes active volcanic regions, deep valleys, and fault lines that create a visible scar across the landscape from space. These geological formations indicate that massive forces deep within the Earth continue to reshape the continental surface through volcanic activity and tectonic movement. The rift system displays clear evidence of ongoing volcanic activity that drives the continental separation process. Geological surveys have identified numerous volcanic vents and geothermal features throughout the region that demonstrate how molten rock from deep within the Earth pushes upward and creates pressure along the fault lines. This volcanic activity produces the energy that gradually forces the continental plates apart over geological timescales. Scientists predict that the current spreading rate could create a navigable waterway separating East Africa from the main continent within millions of years. This timeline represents a relatively brief period in geological terms, though the process remains imperceptible to human observation without sophisticated measuring equipment. The eventual formation of a new ocean basin would fundamentally alter the geography of the African continent. Local communities living along the Rift Valley observe geothermal features, including hot springs and volcanic activity that provide visible evidence of the geological forces operating beneath the surface. These thermal phenomena indicate that major changes continue occurring deep within the Earth's crust throughout the entire rift system. The ongoing geological transformation creates unique mineral formations and affects local water sources as underground systems shift and realign. The East African Rift represents one of the most active continental drift processes that scientists can study using modern monitoring technology. While researchers continue documenting these gradual geological changes, other teams working across Africa have been uncovering evidence from the distant past that reveals the continent's history as home to some of the most formidable creatures that ever walked the Earth. Colossal predator unearthed in Morocco's ancient riverbeds. Morocco's ancient fossil beds have produced some of the most significant paleontological discoveries in recent decades, revealing details about prehistoric ecosystems that once dominated North Africa. The Kem beds, stretching across southeastern Morocco, contain sediment layers that preserve fossils from the Cretaceous period, when this region supported vast river systems teeming with massive predators and their prey. Recent excavations in these fossil-rich formations have uncovered evidence of enormous carnivorous dinosaurs that ruled ancient African landscapes millions of years ago. The preserved remains found throughout the Kem beds demonstrate that North Africa supported some of the largest predatory animals that ever existed on land. These discoveries continue to reshape scientific understanding of how prehistoric ecosystems functioned and what environmental conditions allowed such massive creatures to thrive. The exceptional preservation quality found in Moroccan fossil sites allows researchers to observe anatomical details that provide insights into the behavior and capabilities of these ancient predators. Fossilized teeth, bones, and other remains reveal information about hunting strategies, feeding patterns, and the complex relationships between different species that shared these prehistoric environments. Advanced analysis techniques applied to specimens from the Chem beds have revealed that these ancient ecosystems supported incredible biodiversity. Multiple species of large carnivores coexisted alongside massive herbivorous dinosaurs, prehistoric crocodiles, and various other creatures that created complex food webs. The fossil evidence shows that competition for resources drove evolutionary adaptations that produced some of the most formidable predators in Earth's history. The sediment layers in Morocco's fossil beds also preserve evidence of the environmental conditions that existed during the Cretaceous period. Analysis of ancient pollen, plant material, and geological formations indicates that this region experienced tropical climates with extensive river systems and lush vegetation that supported diverse animal communities. Research teams working in Morocco continue to uncover new species and gather evidence about prehistoric life that challenges previous assumptions about ancient African ecosystems. The ongoing discoveries demonstrate that Africa's geological history includes periods when the continent supported dramatically different environments and wildlife populations than exist today. These fossil discoveries from Morocco's ancient riverbeds represent just one example of how Africa continues to reveal secrets about our planet's distant past. While paleontologists work to understand these prehistoric ecosystems, other researchers across the continent are documenting extreme environments that exist in the present day, where unique chemical conditions create some of the most hostile yet fascinating natural laboratories on Earth. Lake Natron's deadly chemistry reaches critical toxicity levels. Tanzania's Lake Natron stands as one of these extreme natural laboratories where chemical conditions have reached levels that challenge the very limits of what scientists consider habitable on our planet. Environmental monitoring equipment positioned around this remarkable body of water captured readings in 2025 that established Lake Natron as the most chemically extreme natural environment ever documented on Earth. The sophisticated pH measurement devices recorded alkaline levels of 12.3, which surpasses the caustic strength of household bleach and approaches the chemical intensity of industrial drain cleaners. These measurements represent the highest natural alkalinity levels ever recorded in any water body worldwide and indicate that the lake's chemistry has reached concentrations that can dissolve organic matter within just minutes of contact. The extreme alkaline conditions result from unique volcanic minerals that continuously feed into the lake, creating what scientists describe as a natural sodium carbonate factory. Volcanic activity in the surrounding region deposits massive quantities of sodium carbonate and other alkaline minerals directly into the water through underground springs and surface runoff. The lake has no outlet, so these minerals accumulate year after year, reaching concentrations that would be lethal to most life forms on the planet. Surface temperature measurements taken throughout 2025 show that Lake Natron now reaches 140 degrees Fahrenheit during peak afternoon hours. This scalding temperature, combined with the extreme alkalinity, creates conditions that would cause immediate severe burns to any human or animal that contacts the water. Despite these deadly conditions, researchers made remarkable discoveries in 2024 when they found thriving colonies of extremophile bacteria that have adapted to survive in this chemical inferno. These microscopic organisms have developed cellular mechanisms that allow them to process the toxic minerals and use them as energy sources. Scientists believe these bacteria may provide crucial insights into how life first emerged on Earth, billions of years ago when our planet's surface conditions were similarly extreme and hostile. Flamingo populations that visit Lake Natron have evolved extraordinary survival adaptations that allow them to feed in waters that would kill most other animals. These birds possess specialized salt glands that filter toxic minerals from their bloodstream and excrete the dangerous chemicals through their nasal passages. The flamingos can wade through the caustic water and consume the algae and small organisms that somehow survive in the lake's extreme environment. Chemical analysis conducted by research teams reveals that Lake Natron contains mineral concentrations so high they could preserve organic matter for millions of years without decay. The alkaline chemistry creates natural mummification processes that instantly preserve any animal unfortunate enough to fall into the water. Scientists have recovered perfectly preserved bird carcasses that show no signs of decomposition despite being submerged for extended periods. While Lake Natron represents one extreme example of how unique geological conditions create extraordinary environments on Earth's surface, other researchers working across Africa have been discovering that equally remarkable formations exist hidden beneath the ground in locations where few scientists ever expected to find them. Madagascar's hidden underground world spans hundreds of miles. Madagascar's remote Ankarana Plateau became the site of extraordinary underground discoveries throughout 2024 when speleologists mapped a cave system so enormous that it could easily accommodate entire metropolitan areas within its underground chambers and connecting tunnels. This subterranean network extends over 200 miles through solid limestone bedrock, making it one of the most extensive cave systems ever documented anywhere on the planet. The newly mapped caverns contain ecosystems that have remained completely isolated from the surface world for millions of years. These underground environments developed independently from external influences, creating biological conditions that exist nowhere else on Earth. The isolation allowed unique evolutionary processes to occur in complete darkness, producing life forms that adapted to survive without any sunlight or connection to surface ecosystems. Research teams exploring these hidden chambers discovered over 30 previously unknown species that have never been observed by scientists before. The discoveries include multiple species of blind fish that navigate through underground rivers using highly developed sensory systems instead of vision. Albino spiders with specialized hunting techniques evolved to catch prey in complete darkness, while adapted reptiles developed unique metabolic processes that allow them to survive on minimal food sources available in the underground environment. The cave system contains underground rivers that flow continuously for dozens of miles without ever reaching the surface or connecting to any known water source above ground. These hidden waterways carve through limestone formations, creating vast chambers and intricate tunnel networks. The rivers maintain consistent flow rates throughout the year, indicating they connect to deep underground aquifers that remain unaffected by seasonal weather patterns on the surface. Mineral formations discovered within the caves display crystal growth patterns that defy conventional geological understanding. The unique chemical conditions created by underground water sources and limestone interactions produce crystalline structures that grow in geometric patterns that scientists have never observed in other cave systems. These formations suggest that the cave environment creates chemical conditions that allow minerals to crystallize in ways that are impossible under normal surface conditions. Archaeological evidence recovered from multiple chamber locations indicates that ancient Malagasy people used these caves as sacred burial sites and ceremonial chambers. Stone artifacts and human remains show that these underground spaces held significant cultural importance for generations of local populations who developed sophisticated methods for accessing the deep cave systems despite the challenging terrain and complete darkness. Advanced sonar mapping technology revealed that some individual chambers within the cave system are large enough to contain entire football stadiums with room to spare. These massive underground spaces formed over millions of years as water slowly dissolved limestone bedrock, creating caverns of unprecedented size and complexity. This discovery opens entirely new possibilities for understanding Madagascar's geological formation processes and the evolutionary history of species that developed in complete isolation from the rest of the world. While researchers continue exploring these hidden underground networks, other teams working across Africa have been documenting dramatic environmental changes occurring above ground that reveal the dynamic Sahara desert expansion accelerates to catastrophic rates. The most dramatic environmental transformation currently reshaping Africa involves the Sahara Desert's relentless expansion across the continent's northern regions. Satellite monitoring systems positioned across North Africa captured data throughout 2024 that reveals the desert is advancing southward at unprecedented rates that exceed all previous measurements. The sophisticated imaging technology used to track these changes shows clear evidence of sand dunes advancing across previously fertile landscapes at speeds visible from space. Recent measurements indicate the Sahara is expanding at rates significantly faster than historical averages, with some regions experiencing particularly rapid advancement. This acceleration represents a substantial increase compared to measurements taken just 5 years ago when desert growth occurred at more predictable rates. The comparison between recent data and historical records shows that expansion patterns have intensified dramatically across multiple monitoring zones. Climate monitoring stations across the Sahel region recorded precipitation patterns and temperature data that explain the unprecedented desert growth. Rising temperatures create conditions that increase evaporation rates while simultaneously reducing rainfall amounts across areas that border the desert. These changing weather patterns remove the moisture that vegetation needs to survive and create conditions that favor desert expansion over agricultural productivity. The advancing desert is consuming fertile farmland across the Sahel region at an alarming pace, destroying agricultural communities that have existed for generations. Millions of people face displacement as their traditional farming areas become uninhabitable desert terrain. The expansion eliminates grazing lands for livestock and destroys crop production areas that local populations depend on for survival and economic stability. Advanced computer modeling systems that analyze current expansion trends predict that the Sahara could grow by an area equivalent to the size of France within the next decade. This projection assumes that current expansion rates continue without significant intervention or climate pattern changes. The modeling indicates that major population centers across West Africa could face direct impacts from desert expansion within the next 20 years. The rapid desert growth generates massive dust storms that travel thousands of miles across the Atlantic Ocean, affecting weather patterns in the Americas. These dust clouds carry millions of tons of sand particles that influence precipitation patterns and atmospheric conditions far from their African origins. The increased frequency and intensity of these dust storms indicate that Sahara expansion is creating global climate effects. Local ecosystems collapse as water sources disappear and vegetation dies at the desert's advancing edge. Wells that provided water for communities dry up completely while rivers and streams cease flowing as underground water tables drop below accessible levels. The ecological destruction occurs rapidly as plant communities that took decades to establish disappear within just a few years. The accelerated growth results from feedback loops where increased heat and decreased vegetation create conditions that reinforce desert expansion. As vegetation disappears, the land surface absorbs more heat, which increases local temperatures and further reduces the chances of plant survival. This environmental crisis represents one of the most dramatic examples of rapid climate change that humans can observe occurring in real time rather than over geological timescales. While these modern environmental changes reshape Africa's landscape, other discoveries across the continent continue revealing how human ancestors adapted to challenging conditions millions of years ago. Ancient Tool Workshop reveals shocking human intelligence timeline. Archaeological excavations conducted at remote sites across Kenya have produced discoveries that challenge fundamental assumptions about early human technological development. Research teams working throughout 2025 uncovered evidence of organized tool manufacturing that pushes back the timeline of systematic human technology by hundreds of thousands of years. These ancient workshop sites contain thousands of stone implements in various stages of completion, along with carefully selected raw materials that early humans transported from distant locations. The discovery sites reveal that ancient toolmakers possess sophisticated understanding of how different rock types fracture and break when struck at specific angles. These early humans deliberately chose particular types of volcanic rock and quartzite that possessed ideal properties for creating sharp cutting edges and durable implements. Advanced microscopic examination of the finished tool shows clear evidence of standardization in manufacturing techniques that indicate experienced toolmakers taught others their methods. Multiple tools display identical knapping patterns and edge angles that suggest these early humans had developed consistent methods for creating implements with specific functions. The standardization proves that manufacturing knowledge was passed down through generations of workshop users who maintained technical skills within their communities. Detailed analysis of tool edges using high-powered microscopy reveals that these ancient implements were used for processing plant materials, butchering meat, and working wood. The wear patterns on cutting edges show microscopic scratches and chips that indicate specific uses for different tool types. Some implements display polished marks from cutting plant fibers, while others show damage patterns consistent with bone and meat processing activities. The workshop sites include what appears to be designated teaching areas where experienced toolmakers instructed others in manufacturing techniques. These sections contain numerous partially completed tools and practice pieces that show clear evidence of skill development. The presence of teaching areas indicates that these early humans had developed complex social structures for passing knowledge between individuals and maintaining technical expertise across generations. Carbon isotope analysis of organic matter preserved at the sites reveals that the workshop users had diverse diets that included both plant and animal foods processed using controlled fire. Advanced dating techniques applied to multiple layers of the excavation sites confirm that successive generations of early humans used these workshops continuously over thousands of years. The extended use periods indicate that these locations held special significance and that tool-making knowledge was successfully transmitted across many generations of users. The discoveries fundamentally challenge previous assumptions about early human cognitive abilities and social organization by proving that systematic technology development began much earlier than scientists previously believed. This evidence of sophisticated manufacturing capabilities among ancient human populations represents just one example of how Africa continues to reveal unexpected aspects of our planet's history. While archaeologists work to understand these ancient technological achievements, other researchers across the continent are documenting dramatic environmental changes occurring in real time at some of Africa's most iconic natural landmarks. Mount Kilimanjaro's ice disappears at unprecedented speed. Mount Kilimanjaro stands as Tanzania's highest peak and one of Africa's most recognizable landmarks, but glaciological research teams conducting comprehensive surveys throughout 2025 documented ice loss measurements that represent the most dramatic glacial retreat ever recorded on the African continent. Mount Kilimanjaro's ice cap has lost approximately 95% of its coverage since 1912 and may disappear completely by 2030, according to glaciology studies that track the mountain's rapidly changing summit conditions. The sophisticated monitoring equipment positioned at multiple elevations revealed that the remaining ice formations cannot survive the accelerating pace of glacial retreat. Advanced computer modeling systems that analyze current melting patterns and temperature trends indicate complete loss of Kilimanjaro's famous snows within the next decade. The projections represent a dramatic revision from earlier estimates that suggested the ice would persist for several more decades. Ice core analysis conducted using advanced drilling techniques shows that the current melting rate exceeds natural historical patterns by unprecedented margins. Scientists extracted core samples from the deepest remaining ice formations and analyzed the layers that represent thousands of years of glacial accumulation. The data reveals that modern ice loss occurs at speeds that have no precedent in the mountain's recorded glacial history. The rapidly disappearing ice cover exposes ancient volcanic features and geological formations that remained hidden beneath glacial ice for thousands of years. Rock formations and lava flow patterns become visible as the ice retreats, revealing details about Mount Kilimanjaro's volcanic activity that occurred long before human recorded history. These newly exposed geological features provide scientists with unprecedented access to volcanic rock samples that contain information about the mountain's formation processes. Local water supply systems that depend on glacial melt from Mount Kilimanjaro already show critical shortages that affect millions of people across northern Tanzania and southern Kenya. The reduced water flow impacts agricultural irrigation systems and municipal water supplies for major population centers. Communities that have relied on consistent glacial meltwater for generations now face water security challenges as their traditional sources diminish rapidly. Climate monitoring stations positioned at various elevations on Mount Kilimanjaro recorded temperature increases of 3.2 degrees Celsius at the summit over the past 2 decades. These temperature measurements show consistent warming trends that accelerate ice melting processes throughout the year rather than just during traditional warm seasons. The sustained higher temperatures prevent seasonal ice accumulation that historically balanced summer melting periods. The dramatic ice loss creates increasingly unstable climbing conditions that make ascending Mount Kilimanjaro significantly more dangerous than in previous years. Rock faces previously covered by stable ice now present loose stone hazards, while traditional climbing routes become impassable as ice formations collapse. Professional climbing guides report increased accident rates and route modifications required to maintain climber safety. The mountain's dramatically altered appearance affects local tourism revenue that supports hundreds of thousands of jobs throughout northern Tanzania. Tourist bookings decline as visitors seek destinations that still offer the snow-capped mountain experience that Mount Kilimanjaro historically provided. While these visible changes transform one of Africa's most famous landmarks, researchers working across the continent continue uncovering hidden aspects of the landscape that reveal surprising secrets about water resources in seemingly impossible locations. Hidden rivers flow beneath the Sahara's surface. Deep beneath the Sahara's endless sand dunes lies one of the most remarkable hydrological discoveries of the modern era. Ground-penetrating radar surveys conducted across the desert throughout 2024 revealed the existence of massive underground river systems that completely rewrite our understanding of water resources beneath the world's largest desert. Research teams using advanced geological scanning equipment discovered flowing waterways buried hundreds of feet below the surface that extend across vast distances through solid bedrock formations. The underground river network contains enormous quantities of fresh water that has remained hidden from human knowledge until recent technological advances made detection possible. Advanced measurement techniques revealed that these subterranean waterways hold trillions of gallons of pure fresh water flowing continuously beneath one of Earth's most arid regions. The sheer quantity of water moving through these underground channels represents one of the world's largest freshwater resources. These hidden aquatic systems flow continuously for thousands of miles, connecting water sources that originate in mountain regions with drainage systems that eventually reach major river valleys. The underground rivers follow specific geological pathways through porous rock formations that allow water to move across continental distances without ever reaching the surface. Advanced mapping technology shows that some individual river channels extend over 2,000 miles underground, making them longer than many major surface rivers. Several of these underground waterways contain enough water to supply major metropolitan areas with fresh water for hundreds of years without depletion. Engineering calculations show that single river channels hold sufficient water to meet the needs of cities with populations exceeding 1 million people for extended periods. The discovery has immediate implications for addressing water scarcity issues across North and West Africa, where millions of people currently lack access to reliable fresh water sources. The underground river discovery explains how ancient civilizations managed to thrive in areas that are now completely barren desert terrain. Archaeological evidence shows that major settlements existed in locations that appear impossibly dry by modern standards, but the underground water sources provided the fresh water that these communities needed for survival. Advanced geological mapping reveals that these rivers follow pathways of ancient surface waterways that existed when the Sahara supported different climate conditions. The water flowing through these underground systems has been preserved in pristine condition by protective rock layers that prevent contamination. Chemical analysis shows that the underground water maintains exceptional purity levels because the surrounding geology acts as a natural filtration system that removes impurities over extended time periods. Scientists discovered evidence that some underground rivers remain actively flowing and could potentially be accessed using modern drilling technology. This hidden hydrological network represents a remarkable example of how much remains unknown about our planet's water resources. While researchers continue mapping these subterranean systems, other teams working across Africa have been documenting equally surprising discoveries about the incredible diversity of life that exists in regions previously thought to be thoroughly explored. Congo Basin biodiversity explosion defies scientific expectations. The Congo Basin has emerged as the epicenter of biological discoveries that challenge every assumption scientists held about tropical rainforest biodiversity. The comprehensive biodiversity survey conducted across this vast Central African wilderness throughout 2025 produced results that have completely transformed scientific understanding of species diversity in tropical rainforest ecosystems. Research teams working in previously unexplored regions documented over 1,200 new species discoveries made in just the past 2 years. This extraordinary number represents the highest rate of new species identification ever recorded in a single ecosystem and indicates that the Congo Basin contains far more biological diversity than scientists ever imagined possible. The survey results include discoveries of entirely new mammal families that challenge existing taxonomic classifications. Scientists found a cat-sized primate species with physical characteristics that do not match any known primate group, along with several rodent species that display unique anatomical features. These mammalian discoveries required researchers to create completely new taxonomic categories because the animals possess combinations of traits that existing classification systems could not accommodate. Detailed analysis of the survey data reveals that researchers documented 400 new insect species, 200 previously unknown plant species, and 150 bird species that had never been observed by scientists before. The insect discoveries alone represent more new species than most ecosystems produce over decades of research. The plant species findings include flowering plants with unique pollination mechanisms and trees that grow in specific microclimates found nowhere else on Earth. Many of these remarkable discoveries were made possible by advanced climbing equipment and drone technology that allowed researchers to access previously unexplored canopy regions high above the forest floor. The upper levels of the Congo Basin rainforest contain ecosystems that remain completely isolated from ground-level environments. These aerial habitats support species that have evolved independently from their ground-dwelling relatives and developed unique adaptations for life in the forest canopy. Several newly discovered species display biological adaptations that scientists have never observed in any other animal species. These unique evolutionary developments include sensory organs that detect specific chemical compounds and reproductive strategies that involve complex interactions between multiple species. The unusual adaptation suggests that tropical rainforest environments create evolutionary pressures that produce biological innovations not found in other ecosystems. The exceptionally high discovery rate indicates that the Congo Basin may actually contain twice as many species as current scientific estimates predict. This revision means that one of the world's most biodiverse regions is even more biologically rich than researchers previously understood. Environmental DNA sampling techniques revealed hundreds of additional species that research teams have detected genetically but have not yet physically located or observed. These findings demonstrate that tropical rainforests continue to hold biological secrets that could revolutionize our understanding of evolution and species development. While biologists work to catalog these newly discovered species, other research teams across Africa have been applying cutting-edge technology to solve geographical mysteries that have puzzled explorers for thousands of years. Nile River source mystery finally solved after centuries. One of geography's most enduring mysteries has finally received a definitive answer through the application of modern scientific methods to an ancient question. The international expedition team that set out to solve the Nile River source mystery in 2025 achieved what explorers and geographers had attempted for over 2 millennia. Using advanced GPS tracking systems and sophisticated satellite technology, researchers definitively identified the true source of the world's most famous river in a location that surprised the entire scientific community. This groundbreaking discovery settles a geographical debate that has persisted since ancient Greek explorers first ventured into Africa seeking the legendary source waters of the Nile. The mystery captivated civilization for over 2,000 years as countless expeditions failed to locate the precise point where the great river begins its journey to the Mediterranean Sea. Historical figures from Herodotus to Victorian explorers attempted to solve this puzzle, but lacked the technological tools necessary to trace the river's true origins through thousands of miles of complex waterways. The expedition team employed revolutionary isotope analysis techniques to trace individual water molecules from the Mediterranean Sea backwards through the entire Nile system to their original source. This cutting-edge scientific method allowed researchers to follow the molecular signature of water as it traveled from highland springs through tributaries and main channels across the entire African continent. The isotope tracking provided definitive proof of water flow patterns that previous expeditions could only estimate using basic geographic observation. Advanced satellite mapping technology revealed that the complete Nile River system actually measures 4,258 miles in total length, making it definitively the world's longest river without any remaining dispute. Previous measurements lacked the precision to account for every tributary and water source that contributes to the main river channel. The updated measurements settled the long-standing debate between the Nile and Amazon rivers regarding which system holds the record for greatest length. The true source produces an astounding 2.3 million gallons of crystal-clear water every single day through underground springs that connect the ancient aquifer systems deep beneath Rwanda's highland region. These underground water sources have maintained consistent flow rates for thousands of years, feeding the spring that ultimately becomes the mighty Nile River. The consistent daily output indicates that the source connects to massive underground water reserves that remain stable regardless of seasonal weather variations. Local Rwandan communities possess knowledge about this particular highland spring for countless generations, but its direct connection to the Nile River system was never scientifically verified until the 2025 expedition. Traditional knowledge holders understood the significance of the spring, but lacked the technological means to prove its relationship to the great river that flows thousands of miles away. This remarkable finding demonstrates how modern technological capabilities can finally provide definitive answers to questions that have puzzled humanity since ancient times. While geographers celebrate this breakthrough in understanding one of the world's great rivers, other research teams working across the continent have been making equally significant discoveries that challenge our understanding of Africa's ancient past. Lost civilizations emerge from African archaeological sites, Archaeological excavations conducted across Africa throughout 2024 and 2025 have uncovered evidence that forces scientists to reconsider established historical timelines about early human societies. These discoveries reveal sophisticated urban centers and complex cultures that existed thousands of years before historians believed such advanced civilizations were possible on the African continent. Excavation teams working in Sudan made remarkable discoveries when they uncovered a sophisticated urban center that displays advanced metallurgy techniques and astronomical knowledge dating to 4000 BCE. The site contains bronze working facilities that produce metal alloys using techniques that historians previously believed were developed much later in human history. Stone structures at the site show precise astronomical alignments that indicate the inhabitants possess detailed knowledge of celestial movements and seasonal cycles. The urban planning reveals organized street layouts and sophisticated water management systems that rival engineering achievements from civilizations that emerged thousands of years later. Excavations conducted in Nigeria revealed elaborate burial chambers containing artifacts that provide clear evidence of complex trade networks spanning multiple continents. The burial sites yield exotic materials including silk from Asia, precious metals from South America, and carved jade from regions thousands of miles away. These artifacts prove that ancient African civilizations maintained sophisticated trade relationships across vast oceanic distances using advanced navigation techniques. The burial chambers themselves display architectural engineering that required mathematical calculations and construction methods that historians did not expect to find in such ancient contexts. Ground-penetrating radar surveys identified massive stone structures buried beneath sand dunes in the Kalahari Desert that represent some of the largest ancient construction projects ever discovered in Africa. These buried monuments contain precisely cut stone blocks weighing several tons each that were somehow transported across desert terrain and assembled using advanced engineering techniques. The structures show evidence of sophisticated planning and organizational capabilities that indicate highly developed social systems and technological knowledge. Carbon dating analysis of organic materials recovered from multiple excavation sites challenges every established timeline of human civilization development that historians have accepted for decades. The dating results consistently place these advanced civilizations hundreds or thousands of years earlier than current historical models predict was possible. These findings force researchers to completely revise their understanding of when humans first developed complex social structures and advanced technologies. The archaeological evidence includes clear proof of advanced mathematics, engineering capabilities, and artistic traditions that demonstrate sophisticated cultural development. Stone tablets contain mathematical calculations using numerical systems that show understanding of complex geometric principles. Engineering achievements include precision stone cutting, advanced metallurgy, and construction techniques that require detailed planning and skilled craftsmanship. Multiple excavation sites show clear signs of sudden abandonment, with no evidence of gradual decline or warfare that might explain why these advanced civilizations disappeared. The abandonment pattern suggests these societies face catastrophic events that forced immediate evacuation of major population centers. Personal belongings and valuable artifacts remain scattered throughout the site, indicating that inhabitants left quickly without time to gather their possessions. These discoveries demonstrate that Africa was home to some of the world's earliest complex societies and that African civilizations achieved technological and cultural advances long before similar developments occurred elsewhere. While archaeologists continue uncovering evidence of these ancient achievements, other researchers across the continent are documenting how modern environmental Victoria Falls water crisis reaches critical emergency level. Victoria Falls stands as one of Africa's most magnificent natural wonders, but hydrological monitoring equipment positioned around the falls captured measurements in 2025 that revealed the most severe water crisis in its recorded history. The sophisticated flow measurement devices installed at multiple points along the Zambezi River recorded water levels so low that scientists initially questioned whether their equipment was malfunctioning. These measurements confirmed that Victoria Falls is experiencing its lowest water flow since detailed record-keeping began over 150 years ago. The fall's flow rate has plummeted by 78% compared to historical averages that span more than a century of data collection. This dramatic reduction transformed the thunderous cascade that once generated mist clouds visible from dozens of miles away into a series of trickling streams that barely covered the massive rock face. The iconic roar that gave Victoria Falls its local name of Mosio, Atunya, meaning the smoke that thunders, has been reduced to a whisper as water volumes drop to unprecedented lows. Climate monitoring stations across the Zambezi River Basin recorded precipitation data that reveals the region is experiencing its worst drought conditions in over 1,000 years. Advanced climate modeling systems analyze historical weather patterns and determine that current rainfall levels represent the most severe water shortage the region has faced since medieval times. The drought conditions extend across the entire watershed that feeds Victoria Falls, creating a cascading effect that reduces water flow throughout the river system. The water crisis has created serious consequences for hydroelectric power generation facilities that depend on Victoria Falls to produce electricity for millions of people across southern Africa. Power plants located downstream from the falls operate at severely reduced capacity as water levels drop below the minimum requirements for efficient turbine operation. Rolling blackouts affect major population centers across Zambia and Zimbabwe as electrical generation capacity drops to critical levels. Satellite imagery captured throughout 2025 shows that the fall's famous mist cloud has shrunk to just 10% of its normal size and density. The reduced water flow eliminates the constant spray that historically created the towering mist columns that made Victoria Falls visible from great distances. Local ecosystems that evolved to depend on the fall's constant moisture are experiencing widespread collapse as vegetation dies across areas that historically remain green year-round. The dramatically reduced water flow exposes previously hidden rock formations and geological features that remained underwater for centuries. These newly visible stone structures reveal details about the fall's formation process and geological history that scientists could never study when covered by rushing water. Tourism revenue has collapsed as visitors arrive expecting to witness one of the world's most spectacular waterfalls, only to find exposed rock faces with minimal water flow. Scientists predict that without significant rainfall increases, the falls could temporarily cease flowing completely within the next 2 years. This environmental crisis represents just one example of how natural forces continue to reshape Africa's landscape, though other geological processes operating across the continent have left evidence of far more dramatic transformations that occurred over much longer timescales. Massive meteorite impacts reshape African geological understanding. Deep beneath Africa's surface, geological forces have been quietly shaping the continent through processes that scientists are only beginning to understand. Recent advances in geological survey techniques have revealed that Africa's landscape bears the marks of dramatic events that occurred over vast timescales, creating formations that challenge our understanding of how continents develop and change over millions of years. Advanced satellite imaging and ground-penetrating radar technology deployed across the African continent throughout 2024 have revolutionized how researchers study geological formations. These sophisticated detection systems can identify buried structures and analyze rock compositions that remained hidden for millions of years beneath sand, vegetation, and sediment layers. The technology allows scientists to map underground formations with unprecedented precision and discover geological features that previous survey methods could never detect. The newly available geological data reveals that Africa's bedrock contains evidence of ancient processes that shaped the continent's current landscape. Rock formations discovered through these advanced surveys show clear signs of extreme pressure and temperature changes that occurred during critical periods in Earth's geological history. These formations provide direct evidence of the tremendous forces that have influenced continental development over geological timescales. Analysis of rock samples collected from various sites across the continent reveals mineral compositions that formed under unique conditions not commonly found in other geological environments. These specialized minerals provide scientists with insights into the extreme processes that created them and help researchers understand how different geological forces have interacted to shape Africa's current landscape. The chemical signatures of these minerals offer clues about the conditions that existed when they formed. The geographic distribution of these geological features suggests that Africa has experienced unique geological processes that differ significantly from those that shaped other continents. Statistical analysis of formation patterns indicates that the African continent has undergone geological changes at rates and intensities that exceed global averages. This increased geological activity may result from Africa's position and the unique tectonic forces that operate beneath the continental surface. Several geological sites contain specialized crystal formations and mineral structures that form exclusively under extreme conditions. These materials provide direct evidence of the tremendous forces that have operated beneath Africa's surface throughout geological history. The presence of these pressure-formed minerals confirms that the continent has experienced geological processes of extraordinary intensity and duration. The geological discoveries help scientists understand how these ancient processes have influenced the development of life across Africa by creating unique environments that supported different types of organisms. These geological formations create distinctive habitats with altered soil chemistry and drainage patterns that provide opportunities for species to adapt and evolve in specialized conditions. While geologists continue mapping these ancient formations, other researchers working across Africa's forests have been making equally remarkable discoveries about the continent's living inhabitants that challenge fundamental assumptions about biological development. New primate species challenge evolution models. Primatologists working in remote African forests throughout 2024 and 2025 documented 12 new primate species that have created a crisis in evolutionary biology by displaying characteristics that contradict established scientific theories about primate development. These remarkable discoveries emerge from extensive fieldwork conducted across previously unexplored forest regions where researchers found primate populations that have remained hidden from scientific observation for millions of years. The most significant discoveries include a nocturnal monkey species found in Gabon's dense rainforest canopy that displays unique anatomical features never before observed in any known primate group. This small monkey possesses enlarged eyes and specialized hands that allow it to navigate through complete darkness while foraging for insects and fruit. The species shows behavioral patterns that differ dramatically from all other known nocturnal primates, including complex vocalizations and social interactions that occur exclusively during nighttime hours. Research teams working in the Democratic Republic of Congo made an equally shocking discovery when they found a miniature ape species that measures less than 2 feet in height, but displays cognitive abilities that rival those of much larger primates. This tiny ape uses sophisticated tools to extract insects from tree bark and shows problem-solving capabilities that scientists previously associated only with great apes like chimpanzees and gorillas. Genetic analysis conducted on tissue samples from the newly discovered species revealed results that challenge fundamental assumptions about primate evolution timelines. Several species show genetic divergence patterns that indicate they separated from known primate groups much more recently than evolutionary models predict should be possible. The genetic data suggests that primate evolution occurs at much faster rates than scientists previously believed, and that new species can emerge within shorter time frames than existing theories support. The newly discovered primates display behavioral adaptations that have never been observed in any other primate species, including complex communication systems and cooperative hunting strategies. Some species demonstrate tool use capabilities that involve modifying natural materials to create specialized implements for specific tasks. These behavioral innovations suggest that primate intelligence evolved independently in multiple lineages rather than following the linear progression that scientists have traditionally assumed. Advanced camera trap technology and environmental DNA sampling techniques made these discoveries possible by allowing researchers to detect primate populations in areas too remote or dangerous for direct human observation. The DNA sampling methods identified primate species by analyzing genetic material found in soil and water samples without requiring direct contact with the animals themselves. Several newly discovered species appear to be hybrids between previously known primate groups, which creates serious problems for existing species classification systems. These hybrid populations possess characteristics from multiple primate lineages simultaneously and cannot be properly categorized using current taxonomic frameworks. The hybrid discoveries suggest that primate species interbreed more frequently than scientists realize, and that species boundaries are far more fluid than existing classification systems assume. The exceptionally high rate of new primate discoveries indicates that Africa's forests contain many more unknown species than current estimates predict. While these findings demonstrate that primate evolution is far more complex than scientists previously understood, other research teams working across the continent have been documenting equally surprising developments in wildlife populations that were once considered endangered. African elephant population recovery exceeds all projections. Wildlife census data collected across Africa throughout 2025 produced results that shocked conservation scientists and completely exceeded every population recovery projection that researchers had calculated for African elephant populations. The comprehensive survey revealed that elephant numbers have increased by an extraordinary 35% over just the past 3 years. This dramatic population growth represents the fastest elephant recovery rate ever documented and establishes one of the most successful large mammal conservation programs in recorded history. The recovery statistics far surpass the most optimistic projections that conservation biologists had developed based on previous population trends and protection efforts. Scientific models predicted that elephant populations might stabilize or show modest increases, but none anticipated the explosive growth documented in the 2025 census data. The actual recovery rate exceeded expert predictions by over 200%, indicating that conservation strategies produce results far beyond what anyone believed possible. Advanced GPS tracking technology and satellite collar monitoring systems reveal that elephant herds are expanding their ranges in the vast areas where they have not been observed for decades. These sophisticated monitoring devices show elephants returning to traditional migration routes and establishing new populations in regions where they had been completely absent since the 1980s. The tracking data indicates that elephants are reclaiming ancestral territories and rebuilding population networks that were destroyed by previous poaching pressures. The remarkable population increase stems directly from enhanced anti-poaching operations that eliminated ivory trafficking networks across multiple African countries. Community-based conservation programs that provide local populations with economic incentives to protect elephants rather than exploit them have proven exceptionally effective. These programs transform former poachers into wildlife guardians by offering employment opportunities that generate more income than illegal hunting activities. Genetic diversity analysis conducted on tissue samples from recovering elephant populations shows that the surviving animals maintain much healthier genetic profiles than scientists expected after decades of population decline. The genetic data reveals that elephant populations retain sufficient diversity to support rapid population growth without the inbreeding problems that typically affect small surviving populations. This genetic resilience allowed elephants to reproduce successfully and expand their numbers quickly once protection measures eliminated major threats. Satellite monitoring systems track elephant movements across vast landscapes and document how these expanding populations play crucial roles in forest regeneration and ecosystem restoration. Elephants create pathways through dense vegetation that allow other wildlife species to access new areas while their feeding and movement patterns distribute seeds across wide geographic ranges. The ecological impact of recovering elephant populations extends far beyond their individual species and benefits entire ecosystem networks. Conservation success stories include the documented return of elephants to several national parks where they have been declared locally extinct for over 2 decades. This conservation triumph demonstrates that targeted protection efforts can successfully reverse severe wildlife population declines when implemented with sufficient resources and local support. While biologists celebrate these wildlife recovery achievements, other research teams working beneath Africa's surface have been uncovering discoveries that challenge fundamental scientific understanding in completely different ways. Revolutionary mineral deposits rewrite geological textbooks. Geological survey teams working across Africa throughout 2024 made discoveries that have fundamentally challenged every established principle of mineral formation and geological science. These revolutionary findings include mineral deposits containing elements and chemical compounds that have never been observed anywhere else on Earth or in laboratory conditions. The sophisticated analysis equipment used to examine these materials produced results so unprecedented that researchers initially questioned whether their instruments were functioning correctly. The newly discovered deposits contain rare earth elements in concentrations and combinations that could completely revolutionize modern technology and energy storage systems. These minerals include exotic compounds that display electrical conductivity properties far superior to any materials currently used in electronic devices. The unique chemical composition suggests applications in battery technology that could increase energy storage capacity by over 500% compared to existing lithium-ion systems. The mineral formations appear to have been created through geological processes that do not occur anywhere else on the planet according to current scientific understanding. Advanced analysis reveals that these deposits formed under extreme pressure and temperature conditions that exist only in specific locations deep within the African continental crust. The formation process required millions of years of unique geological activity that scientists cannot replicate or fully explain using existing geological models. Several deposits contain crystalline structures that display physical properties which directly contradict current understanding of mineral physics and chemistry. These crystals conduct electricity at room temperature while simultaneously maintaining perfect structural integrity under extreme mechanical stress. The combination of electrical and mechanical properties should not be possible according to established materials science principles. Yet laboratory testing confirms these extraordinary characteristics. The discoveries include what appear to be the world's largest known deposits of lithium and cobalt, which are absolutely crucial elements for modern battery technology and renewable energy systems. The lithium concentrations exceed anything previously discovered by factors of 10 to 20 times, while maintaining exceptional purity levels that require minimal processing. These deposits could supply glow battery manufacturing for decades while dramatically reducing production costs. Analysis conducted using advanced spectrometry equipment reveals that these minerals formed under pressure and temperature conditions that exceed anything previously documented in natural geological environments. The formation process required pressures equivalent to those found hundreds of kilometers below the Earth's surface, combined with temperatures approaching 2,000 degrees Celsius, sustained over millions of years. Multiple newly discovered minerals exhibit superconducting properties at temperatures much higher than any previously known superconducting materials. These discoveries could revolutionize electrical transmission systems and magnetic levitation technologies by eliminating the need for expensive cooling systems currently required for superconductor applications. The findings suggest that Africa's geological development followed processes far more complex and unique than scientists previously understood. These discoveries prove that the African continent contains geological treasures that could reshape human technology and establish Africa as the epicenter of future materials science development. While geologists continue analyzing these remarkable mineral formations, other research teams working across the continent have been uncovering equally extraordinary evidence from ancient civilizations that challenges everything historians believed about Africa's past. Egyptian archaeological breakthroughs reveal hidden pharaonic secrets. Archaeological excavations conducted across Egypt throughout 2025 produced discoveries that have rewritten the entire history of ancient Egyptian civilization and revealed secrets that remain hidden for thousands of years. Research teams working at multiple sites uncovered evidence of a previously unknown pharaonic dynasty that ruled Egypt for over 200 years, during a period that historians believe was dominated by foreign invasions and political chaos. These newly discovered rulers left behind monuments and inscriptions that prove Egyptian civilization continued to flourish during times when experts thought the kingdom had collapsed. Advanced ground-penetrating radar technology deployed beneath the Giza Pyramid complex revealed the existence of hidden chambers that contain completely untouched artifacts and treasures. These secret rooms remain sealed since the pyramids were constructed over 4,500 years ago and contain royal burial goods that display craftsmanship superior to anything previously discovered in Egyptian tombs. The chambers include golden artifacts with intricate designs and precious stones arranged in patterns that demonstrate advanced mathematical knowledge. The excavation teams discovered intact royal mummies preserved in such perfect condition that modern DNA analysis equipment can extract genetic material for detailed study. These extraordinarily well-preserved remains provide scientists with unprecedented insights into ancient Egyptian genetics and reveal information about royal bloodlines that contradicts established historical records. The DNA evidence shows genetic connections between Egyptian pharaohs and populations from distant regions that historians never suspected had contact with ancient Egypt. Newly discovered hieroglyphic texts found carved into hidden stone surfaces describe engineering techniques and astronomical knowledge that far exceed what historians believe ancient Egyptians possessed. These inscriptions include detailed mathematical calculations for constructing massive stone monuments and precise astronomical observations that demonstrate sophisticated understanding of celestial movements. The hieroglyphic text revealed that ancient Egyptian engineers used advanced principles of physics and mathematics that modern experts struggle to comprehend. Excavations conducted beneath the ancient site of Saqqara revealed a massive underground city that housed thousands of workers and artisans who built the pyramids and other monumental structures. This subterranean complex includes workshops, living quarters, storage facilities, and religious temples that supported a population larger than many modern cities. The underground city demonstrates that ancient Egyptian construction projects required far more sophisticated planning and organization than historians previously understood. The archaeological evidence includes clear proof of trade relationships between ancient Egypt and civilizations located as far away as ancient China and South America. Artifacts recovered from burial sites include silk textiles that originated in China and precious metals that could only have come from South American mines. These discoveries prove that ancient Egyptians maintained global trade networks that spanned continents and connected civilizations separated by vast oceanic distances. These remarkable discoveries represent the most significant Egyptian archaeological breakthroughs since Howard Carter discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun over a century ago and demonstrate that scientific exploration continues producing revelations that transform our understanding of human achievement and historical development. The accumulated evidence from these investigations across Africa establishes the continent as the primary source of discoveries that fundamentally challenge established scientific understanding. These 20 groundbreaking findings from 2024 and 2025 prove that Africa remains the epicenter of scientific revelations that rewrite our knowledge of human evolution, geological processes, and the natural world. From revolutionary dating techniques that completely transform human history to mineral deposits that could revolutionize modern technology, these discoveries demonstrate that our planet still holds countless secrets waiting to be uncovered by modern science. The rapid pace of these revelations suggests that we are entering a new golden age of scientific exploration, where advanced technology finally allows us to